Following is a presentation of RJL 518 Sports Network. Hello, everybody. This is Robert from RJL 518, welcoming you to our Payoff Pitch season recap and reveal, as Philip Reynolds is first to stop by here today. And today we're just going to go ahead. We're going to take a look at some of the great games we played in the restart, the finish of the regular season, and we'll take a look at some of the big playoff games that we did. And at the end of the stream, I will announce the season that we'll be doing next, starting in November. I got to admit, I was actually impressed with like the 17-5 game. Yeah, I was actually impressed with how I was actually able to get the season done. I was actually able to play a game every single day. I mean, from that date, I think the first date was July, and we actually went through July. We went through August. We went through September. July and August were pretty much the end of the regular season. September was playoffs, and we finished here in mid-October with the World Series. I got to admit, it was a fun journey. Had a great time. And, you know, and now what I want to do is I want to go over some of these games that were played. And I'll do that for every season I do. Just take a look at some of the great games. And I want to see which were classics. And, you know, if I was a classic, what I want to do is create a playlist of the best games that were played and just put them in a playlist. Not every game, just when I think maybe the best games that I thought were pretty good. So actually I have my scorebook here. This is the scorebook I've been using, just regular spiral bound notebook, college ruled. And I create my own score sheet, which allows me to put in the players, the starting lineups where I really more care about. I really didn't care much about the the pinch hitters. You got to realize, of course, that the season I just did was not done as, you know, as played. Okay, remember, you got to realize that 1994, the season wasn't finished yet. So all these games these lineups are all from games that were actually played between these two teams earlier in the season. So that's what I pretty much did. So like for this game between Houston and Atlanta, the first game, I had Houston and Atlanta. The starting date was 8/12/1994. I think I chose a game between the Astros and the Braves sometime in April or May. And the reason why I can say that is because here's Deion Sanders. And Deion Sanders is on the Braves in this game. But Deion Sanders was not on the Braves when the season canceled. He was with the Reds because the Reds traded Sanders for Roberto Kelly. And Kelly was on the Braves. Sanders became on the Reds. So when I realized the mistake I made, I said, okay, well, for every other game, I'm going to have to make sure I actually have the rosters corrected, at least at that time. So some of the, as I go through a deck of cards, I went ahead and used the Action PC Baseball game as well as Out of the Park Baseball to get the rosters of that certain date. But of course, after August 11th, there was no other date, so I had to use the final rosters there. And players that were not available, I turned them around in the pack, and like for instance, like here's a here's an inside pitch pack that basically all my cards are in these bags. Each has their own logo. And so, like, here's 1975 St. Louis, just an example of an inside pitch. And let's say this guy here, Eric Rasmussen, was on the lineup when that game was played. I just basically turned him around and blanked him out, knowing that I could not use him as a starting, as a reliever, or as a reliever or a pinch hitter, anything like that. So, just the same thing there for it, for trades and all that material. So, I couldn't use as played lineups because they were just not played. So I had to deal with some of the lineups. I thought I would just go ahead and make my own lineups up, but I said, you know what? No, let's Tony at CP Cards and Dice actually came up with the idea, just choose games from the past and use them. I said, okay, that made sense. So it's funny. We go back to, we go back to this game here, August 12th, 1994, which is where I started it. Started the season here. And started with a game between the Houston Astros and the Atlanta Braves. I tried to keep track of the payoff pitch record, not just the regular record. Sports Time Machine joins me there. Thank you there, Utah Mike. Good to have you here as for the season recap and reveal. And so, we started with this game here, which wasn't too bad, 5-4. Then we did a game between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Yankees. Went to 10 innings, top of the 10th. They won it 10-8. Did I have a lot of injuries during the season? No, we didn't do injuries at all. There were no injuries. I didn't do any injuries and the reason why I couldn't do injuries is because I was using lineups from the past in order to create the lineup. So this game here between Toronto and the Yankees that I used for the 13th of August. This was a game I think played in May or something like that, between these two teams, and got them in here. The scoring, I like to use at-bat scoring instead of inning scoring. I can keep track, and I have a lot more room for players. I pretty much put the American League games on this side of the page, and National League games are on this side of the page. Of course, as you all know, I flip-flop between American League and National League every day. I can tell you this, for the next season, I will not be doing that. There could be days where we have 3 American League games in a row. There could be days where we have 3 or 4 or 5 National League games in a row. It's going to happen. But every team in the next season I'll guarantee you will get shown at least twice. And some, of course, will get more than once in the next season. Here, 8-15, 4-2 Atlanta. 7-5, Kansas City beating the Yankees. This was a good game here. In the bottom of the 10th inning, Kansas City won that one. Cincinnati beating Philly. Did a game between the White Sox and the Red Sox. That went to 13 innings. Boston took away got that win. But no, there were no injuries. In the next season, chosen, I will only do game injuries since I'm going to be using as-played lineups. If a player is injured during a game, he'll be out for that game. He will not be out for any period of time, because if I want to do as-played lineups, I can't do that if somebody is injured. Yeah, I know I could mark it. I said, okay, well, he was injured, and just put somebody else in there. But I think that takes away some of the nuance. So there may be injuries, but I'm only going to do game day injuries in the next season. It was a good game. Kansas City, Baltimore, 9-8. Wasn't too bad. Montreal blew Houston up 8-1. We got the Marlins in against the Dodgers again here. Rematch, Kansas City and the Yankees. You notice I chose a lot of teams that were mostly, as you notice, I mostly chose a lot of teams that were mostly in the playoff hunt. The White Sox were in the playoff hunt. Baltimore was in the playoff hunt. Yankees, Indians, Dodgers, Rangers. The only reason why the Dodgers, the Rangers, the Athletics, and the Giants were on the playoff hunt because in the American League East, the American League West, they were horrible that year. So I'm actually surprised. Like I said, you look at the playoffs, I was really surprised the Dodgers actually beat the Reds in that best of 5. That was the surprise of the whole playoffs, was the Dodgers beating the Reds. I did not see that coming at all. I'm surprised the dice rolled that way. Cincinnati had a very powerful team that year, beat the Cardinals here. Here they beat the Cleveland beats California Angels. Montreal, Houston, Oakland getting Milwaukee, getting the Brewers in there. I wanted to get every team in at least a couple of times at least, for the next season. So I've already know how I'm going to do it. The next season, I will start from the top of the record book. So the team usually with the most wins is going to be the team that's going to, and then we're just going to go down the line from the team with the most wins to the team with the least amount of wins, okay, until at least every team is shown at least once, and then I'll redo the round. Let's see here. Colorado, Pittsburgh. Good game here between Kansas City and Cleveland. This was a very important game starting September. This, of course, these little numbers here are the records of Payoff Pitch. Kansas City had a 4-1 record in Payoff Pitch. Cleveland was 1-1. Next year, Payoff Pitch records will be kept, and they are going to be used as tiebreaker records. So if in the next season, if two teams have the same record for a playoff spot or such, the Payoff Pitch record will be the tiebreaker. I'm not going to do no game 163 unless, of course, the Payoff Pitch record is the same. Then I will have to. But the Payoff Pitch record, games that are played on the board will matter. And you want to win those games because they can make the difference between you make the playoffs or you don't. Here's Cincinnati going ahead and destroying Montreal 11-0. Now, the one thing I like about Payoff Pitch, you get scoring all over the board. I mean, you get scoring all over the board. You get good scoring with inside pitch too. Although I think the highest inside pitch game I've had, and here's my inside pitch book. I think the highest one I had with inside pitch is a 7-2 game with the Yankees and the Red Sox. Now, here was an 8-0 game, Pittsburgh and St. Louis. That was a blowout. As the Pittsburgh Pirates destroyed Bob Gibson in his tribute game I did. This is the Payoff Pitch book. That's the inside pitch book. The next inside pitch game is going to be October 14, 1976. It'll be the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees. It'll be the final game of that ALCS. I figure since we're doing in the middle of a playoff month, I figure I'll do some playoff games for every new inside pitch season I get. 76 and 77 are already on the way. I'll be ordering 78 tomorrow. So 76 will be game 5 of the ALCS between the Royals and the Yankees, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun to play. Dennis Leonard against Ed Figueroa, and we get to have people like Chambliss, Munson, Nettles, Brett, Mayberry, McRae. That's going to be a lot of fun to do. So, but in Payoff Pitch, you got scores 11-0. You got scores of 1-0, 9-6, 5-3. I mean, you get scoring all over it. So everyone says, "Oh, there's a lot of only low scoring in Payoff Pitch." You're looking at my scorecards, guys, and I'm trying to tell you, there's a 10-6 right here. There's a 5-3 here. You know, Joe Morgan tribute and 76 World Series. There you go. 6-3, 5-1. You get scores. You get scores all over the board here with Payoff Pitch. I've had too many people tell me there's no scoring. Well, I'm showing you right now. Every game I've done since the restart: 7-5, 5-2, 6-2, 4-5. You get extra inning games. Oh yeah, the infamous Chambliss walk-off against Little, and extra inning games. Boy, did we have a lot of those. Boy, did I have so many extra inning games. I can't believe it. I mean, at one point, every game was extra inning, no matter what. It was always tight. I think I had a total of 11, 12, 13 extra inning games. They were always tight games because I usually chose good games to play. I mean, Atlanta-Houston was a good game. You know, Cleveland-Milwaukee. You know, I chose usually good games to play. We only had a few blowouts. I mean, Baltimore, here they are destroying the Yankees 7-1 here on September 17, 94. There's a 7-4 game with the Giants beating Houston. Lots of 9-inning wings as well. Yeah, we had a lot of scoring in the 9th inning. That's why we had 9th inning magic. Kansas City, Seattle. I mean, there's lots of scoring here. 78 game 163 Yankees versus Boston Bucky Bleepin' Dent. Yeah, I know, right? Got choices to do. I know when I do the inside pitch games. Here's one here, Philadelphia, Montreal. You know, Montreal was leading here's a good one. Montreal was leading 5-3, and Philadelphia puts 5 in the top of the 9th inning here and wins this game. Oakland wins a game in the bottom of the 9th. No, didn't win the game. They lost this one 4-3. Lots of rare plays. Rare plays occur in every game, in every game engine, whether it's Michael Peterson. What is discussion about? Well, we're going over, some of my past games of the season and talking about, the payoff pitch system and the inside pitch system and, just going over some of the good games we had, It's a recap. There were some good ones here. Of course, the games got really more exciting as we got into the final week of the season. Here's 9:27. Here Cleveland beating the Yankees 2-0 in a tight game. Colorado, here's San Francisco crushing Colorado 10-4, which this game eliminated the Rockies out from any chance of making the playoffs. Here was this game right here. Here was this game right here between the Chicago White Sox and the Seattle Mariners, where the Mariners were down and they won the game 5-4 in the 10 innings in a big game for the Mariners. The vote done for season choice is done. I will introduce that at the end of the stream. Cincinnati, Houston. Then, of course, we had this 3-game. Then, of course, the last 3 days of the regular season, we did. I did double headers. There were so many good games that were so important that I had that Mike, who mentioned to me, you really should do a double header, at least get 2 important games. And so here, then we did this 3-game series between the Cincinnati Reds and the Houston Astros. The Reds were 2 games back of Houston, okay, to win the National League Central, and the Reds beat the Astros 3 straight games, 9-7 here. We did a Yankees-Boston game only because, well, we have to do a Yankees-Boston game. I didn't do one throughout the entire regular season. If I don't do a Yankees-Boston game, I'll get mugged. And here's the next game, Cincinnati-Houston, and Cincinnati beat Houston 8-1. Okay, and all Houston did was win 1 game. They win 1 game, and they clinched the NL Central. Big game here, Chicago White Sox and Kansas City, October 1st. And this game pretty much knocked the Royals out to give the White Sox the leg up on second place in the American League Central. And then, of course, I know Steeler fan, I don't know where he is. I got 10 people watching. If Steeler fans out there, show yourself. But Cincinnati here, Cincinnati shuts the Astros out 2-0 in the final day of the regular season. And Cincinnati wins the NL Central, and Houston winds up winds up second place, and that turned out to be a big thing. Then, of course, and the thing about this was the second game. This was the first game, and this was gigantic here. Seattle. Here we are. October 2nd. The Detroit Tigers playing the Seattle Mariners, and the Seattle. When we already knew from what we already knew was that the Texas Rangers had lost their game to Minnesota in the quick results chart. And then as soon as that happens, Seattle erupts for 5 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning and beats the Dodgers to avoid the tiebreaker game and sends Seattle into the playoffs. Because then they won second place in the American League West. This was a classic right here. I would mark that one as a classic. Right there and there. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give that a C. I'm gonna write a C on that for me to maybe add that to because this is a classic game, not just because of the game it was, but what Seattle had to do in order to get in the playoffs. This was a classic matchup. Then we started the playoffs, and we got here you go here, the National League wild card play, and this is an automatic classic, of course. This was the no-hitter. This was the no-hitter by Bill Swift against the Astros. What a way to start the 1994 playoffs. No, it will not be, STM. It's gonna no, it will not be. I gotta have more playoff teams, so I'll show you what we'll do when I get there. But right here, what a way to start the playoff season with a no-hitter. A no-hitter by Bill Swift on the Astros and knock the Astros out of the playoffs. And the thing about it, Bill Swift, he gave up 3 walks in the first inning, and then he goes perfect the rest of the way. Really. A no-hitter. And this is the first no-hitter I've rolled on any system, whether it been Stratomatic, payoff pitch, inside pitch, out of the park, even PC, out of the park action, on any system. It's the first ever no-hitter I ever did. I'm very proud of this game right here. Then, of course, a big game here between the American League wild card playoff, the Seattle Mariners and the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore getting in there, and they come out. They pretty much had this game. It looked like 5-0. All of a sudden, Baltimore gets 4 runs in the bottom of the 5th and makes it really interesting. And then a run here and ties it up. And then Seattle gets a run in the 8th and wins this game 6-5, so that the Seattle Mariners can move on to the next round. These 2 games themselves were terrific. The wild card playoff. That's why I do like the 1-game scenario if there is just more playoff teams in it. You heard about Out of the Park being sold to a Japanese company. It is a Korean company, by the way, but you are correct. Out of the Park. Marcus Heinsohn, who I don't know personally, but I've chatted with him many a time on the forums for Out of the Park, which I'm a major member of. He sold his pretty much almost the entire share to Com2 US. The reason why I think he did that was not because he's not going to develop the game anymore. He's still going to have a say in it. But they want to use the graphics engine that Com2 US has for probably future Out of the Park play. As you know, Out of the Park now has in my opinion, a decent 3D game engine, which allows to play the game outright, in stadiums and players running and all that. Com2 US has a very good graphics engine, and I believe that is the reason why he wanted to get a touch of their graphics department. He wants a touch of their graphics department, and that's the main reason why I think he made the sale. I know he made money. I know that. Plus, he's been doing it for over 20 years. Out of the Park, pretty much showed up like in 1997, 98. Steeler fan joins me here. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Out of the Park joined us 1997, 98, and he's been doing a new game every year. I get a new game every year. As much as I think the AI in that game in that engine is gamey, I still love playing it. So, we got the 2 wild card playoff games were extended. Then we went to the American League and National League wild card series. San Francisco gets shut out by and Salvador America joins us. San Francisco gets shut out by the Braves in the first game. The White Sox take care of business against the Mariners in game 1. Tribe fan now joins us. Welcome, sir. And then Atlanta. This was something here. This is a good game 2 here of this of the NLWCS. I really thought that San Francisco was going to send Atlanta to a 3rd game, but this was a classic. Atlanta won this game in the bottom of the 9th inning with 3 runs. I'm going to declare that a classic right there, and I'll probably add that to a playoff list to it. Did the Astros survive for another day? Yes, they did. Correa had a walk-off home run, and now yes, they did. And if I am the Rays right now, I am worried. If of all the games they needed to win, I really felt it was tonight. All right. They really needed to win tonight. Now, the Astros know they only need one more game to get a game 7. And that is, and of course we all know anything can happen in a game 6. The Rays needed to eliminate them today, but they didn't. But you have the exciting game here in Atlanta and San Francisco. Then, of course, the White Sox beat the Mariners again in a game 2, and they move on. Then we move on to the division series games. As I said, I had the National League on one side, the American League on another. When I kept on going back and back and fat. And Cincinnati here shuts out the Dodgers. I tell you, the Dodgers, this was the biggest surprise of all the division series. I did not see the Dodgers beating the Reds. I did not see the Dodgers beating the Reds in my playoffs. Yankees in Oakland. Yankees in Oakland here. The Yankees, of course, won. Here was the one reason why I was not thrilled, but I did not think the Yankees were that good. If you go through here, the Dodgers go ahead and win game 2. The Yankees win game 2 here, and I thought, okay, maybe they're going to sweep them. But, the Dodgers win game 3. When the Oakland Athletics took the New York Yankees to 5 games in that ALDS, I said, you know what? Oakland is not that. The Yankees are not that good. They should have swept the A's right out in 3. All right. The Yankees had some issues with pitching. Their pitching was still okay, but it wasn't. It was good, but it wasn't great. And the A's were able to take this series all the way. So the first 2 LDSs actually went 5 games. The Reds and the Dodgers, the Oakland Athletics and the Yankees. And, of course, the Yankees beat the A's and the Dodgers in a real – this is interesting. The Dodgers, 7-6. Cincinnati had 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th and just could not pull that out. I tell you, the dice rolled really interesting in these playoffs. Then starts Atlanta and Montreal in their NLDS. Montreal. Montreal was definitely the better team over the Braves, no doubt there. But this is a classic game right here. This gets a classic. Why? Why does this get a classic? Because the Cleveland Indians absolutely destroyed the Chicago White Sox 17-5 in their first game of the ALDS, and I said, you know what? Maybe the Indians are that good. Maybe this could be the Sports Time Machine doing a doubleheader. There we go. After this fine programming. So I said, well, maybe Cleveland is that good at 17, and they've crushed them 17-5. After that, Cleveland got swept. All right, Montreal goes ahead and beats the Braves again, 5-4. The White Sox. Here again, look at it. Look at this. The Cleveland Indians actually had the lead after 3. They were ahead. 6-3 here. Then the White Sox got 2 runs, 1 run, and then they went to extra innings. This may be maybe the biggest inning of the postseason. The Chicago White Sox went into extra innings against Cleveland. If the White Sox don't win game 2 of this ALDS, I don't think we're celebrating a White Sox title last night. I don't think we're not. They win this inning of 3, get 3 runs in the top of the 11th and win the game 9-6. The Indians, were they the biggest disappointment? Yeah, I would say they were. They were the best team in the American League overall. All right. Although the White Sox had better pitching. All right. But yeah, the Indians lineup with Lofton, Vizquel, Baerga, Bell, Murray, Tomei. This lineup for the Indians really was a bit of a disappointment. Montreal should have swept Atlanta. They should have swept the Braves right out, but a 5-run bottom of the 9th, and the Braves go ahead and beat the Expos. You knew there was something up with that, but they should have swept the Braves right out, really. And then, of course, the White Sox winning game 3 here. And then the Montreal Expos knocking out. And here's Montreal saying, okay, fine. You beat us in the bottom of the 9th. Then, of course, the next game, Montreal blows the Braves away 12-0. They beat them 12-0 here. So, 12-0. That's really amazing how Montreal came right back and did it. And the White Sox knocked the Indians out in in game 4 this series. That was also surprising. When the White Sox won that series, I said, well, maybe the White Sox are good. The Dodgers, Montreal, NLCS, trust me, really, the Dodgers really had nothing for the Expos in this series at all. Okay, Dodgers beat the Reds, yes, but Montreal was so much better. And yeah, Yankees didn't have the bullpen after Key. They got exposed. That's correct. And then, of course, the White Sox and the Yankees. White Sox really just dominated them. Beret went ahead and took care. The White Sox pitching was so much better. Beret was better. Fernandez was better. Abbott got clobbered. Okay. The one thing I liked about NLCS Game 2 was we had Ramon Martinez versus Pedro Martinez, a battle of brothers, which I thought was interesting. And, of course, Montreal came away with that win. Then White Sox beating the Yankees in Game 2 as Abbott gave up 4 runs in the first. The Dodgers actually scored first a couple of times, but the Expos just come right back, 5 runs in the 5th, and win the game 3, 7-4, and then, of course, game 3 here. A win for the Yankees. They did beat the White Sox 9-3 in game 3, of the ALCS there. Jimmy Key beat Alvarez, but I believe that was Alvarez's only. I think that was his only loss. I'm not sure. Montreal swept the Braves right out. Swept the Dodgers. Montreal swept the Dodgers right out. I really am nuts. I just didn't think the Dodgers had anything from Montreal. And a sweep, I was not surprised they swept them out. The White Sox and the Yankees, of course, went to a game 4, 5-4 White Sox here. Jack McDowell beat Scott Kamenecki. And then of course, game 5 of that series here, White Sox over the Yankees, Beret over Melito Perez. Like Sports Time Machine said, the Yankees really didn't have the bullpen. And after Key, I mean, you got Scott Kamenecki, you got Perez, you got Abbott, and they really aren't as good as Alvarez, Beret, Fernandez, and McDowell. So the White Sox definitely had the better pitching in that. On to the World Series. I said there's no way this series is going to end up in a sweep. I said there was no way it's going to be a sweep. It's going to go at least 6 games, I said. You got the 2 Chicago White Sox in the Expos. You got the 2 teams with the best pitching staffs in majors in 1994. Chicago led the American League. Montreal led the National League. And it just went back and forth. All right. Montreal won the first game. And then the White Sox get a steal one in Montreal and get the second game as McDowell picked up the win there. Robin Ventura was crazy. He was absolutely nuts. You know what I didn't do? I did not give you a World Series MVP for the postseason last night. I did not, and I'll go ahead and I'll give one for you in a moment. Again, game 3, the Expos got one back in Montreal and Chicago. I said, okay, but I really didn't think that Chicago was going to win the next 2. Chicago plastered Montreal 11-3 in game 4, and then a tight game 5, 3-1 here. And I said, okay, well, the White Sox now can win it in game 6, but in game 6, Montreal pulled this one out 4-3. But I'll tell you, you go back to game 6 right here, this home run by Fletcher. How big was that home run? How big was that home run by Fletcher? If he don't hit that home run, this home run by Darren Jackson ties this game up. That was a humongous home run by Fletcher. That was a gigantic home run. This home run pretty much saved Montreal's bacon for at least one more game. And then I expected game 7, anything can happen, but White Sox pitching was just dominant. No runs, 3 hits, no errors. The only thing they had were 2 base hits, a base hit by Grissom and Floyd, and Moises Alou got a double, but everything else is nothing. All right. Beret, Alvarez, and McCaskill just buried Montreal in pitching. Martinez got off to a good start, but then I go ahead and bring in Butch Henry, and after Martinez a little bit, I bring in Butch Henry, and he suddenly, Martinez gives up a couple of base hits. I bring in Henry, and then in the fourth inning, okay, a walk, a base hit, then a double, RBI double, okay, by Norberto Martin, not Beret, Martin, base hits after base hit. And I said, and then remember, they had 13 hits yesterday. The World Series MVP. Let me see. Let's see. Robin Ventura was 0 for 5 last night, and he actually finishes with the highest average for the Chicago White Sox. I mean, he had a hit in every single postseason game the White Sox had until game 5 when he went until game 5 when he went 0 for 3 striking out. Okay, and then he didn't get a hit in any of the remaining 3 games. So he was kept quiet. If I was to give a World Series MVP to the White Sox, I would probably have to give it, let's see, Frank Thomas. How many home runs did he have? Frank Thomas had He had a big night here, had a big day here, had a home run, one home run, 3 for 4 one day. I mean, if I want to give it to I don't think I can give it to a pitcher. I don't think I can give it to a pitcher. I mean, well, Beret was Beret. I wouldn't give it to Beret. He was 1-2. He got the win. He was 2-2 in the postseason. I wouldn't give it to Beret. I would have to if I was to give it to a pitcher, it would have to be a relief pitcher. I mean, it could be Jose De Leon. He was 1-0 with 3 saves, but I just don't think I give it to a relief pitcher in this. I'm going to go ahead, and even though he went 0-4 the last 3 games, I'm going to give it to Rob. I'm going to give the MVP to Robin Ventura, because it's not just the series, it's the entire playoffs. And Robin Ventura, even though we went 0-4 in 5, 6, or 7, all right, he had the best batting average on the White Sox throughout the entire postseason. I'll give it to Robin Ventura. He'll be series MVP. I'll give it to him only because he had the highest batting average. Co-MVPs, no. I don't do co-MVPs. I'm going to give it to Ventura. He gets it. I'll give it to Ventura. Even though he did commit a couple of big errors also. But, I mean, really, for the White Sox, it was more of a team effort. I can't give the whole team an MVP. I mean, I could give it to Guillen. Guillen had a good postseason. Guillen had a good postseason. I mean, Thomas had a couple of home runs. LaValliere had a very good postseason. I mean, the bullpen for the White Sox was excellent. You know, Thomas had some big hits. It's true. I'll give it to Ventura, I guess. I'll give him series MVP. But if I had to make a picture, I'll give it to Jose De Leon. He had 3 saves and he was 1-0. You know, I could give it to him too as a pitcher, as relief. He was in there pretty much every game for the White Sox. I have no issue with the White Sox winning this World Series at all. And that shows to me how pretty accurate Payoff Pitch is as a system. Okay, the Chicago White Sox did have the best pitching staff in the American League, and they win the World Series. Well, if pitching wins championships, enough said. Pitching wins championships, enough said. The 2 best teams, the 2 best pitching staffs got in it, and one staff was just a little bit better than the other. And that was the White Sox. They did it more with pitching than they did with hitting. They did it more with pitching. So if pitching wins, if it was a team that finished like 7th or 8th or 9th in pitching and won the whole thing, I would have said, okay, luck it was nothing but luck. But no, the White Sox won the World Series because they had the best pitching staff. And of course, they had a great lineup. I mean, come on, Raines. Even though Raines was in his later years, but Raines, a young Frank Thomas, Robin Ventura, Mike LaValliere was having a good year. Guillen had a good year, and we have pitchers such as Beret, McDowell, Alvarez, and Fernandez, and some pretty good closers as De Leon, McCaskill, and of course Roberto Hernandez. I mean, I got to give him a little credit for the White Sox. This team, in my opinion, the best team did win this World Series. That's how the dice rolled, and I tried to play the games as unbiased as I possibly could. I made decisions for the White Sox. I made decisions for the Expos. I made decisions for the Yankees, the Reds, the Dodgers, Oakland, every team. Okay? To try to help one team get the other. If one team made a substitution, I always gave the other team an opportunity to do so as well. Sometimes I was hampered a little bit by the roster size. There weren't enough pitchers or batters to utilize. Sometimes the dice just didn't go away. I had a game where I had no catcher. There was a game I think where I pinch hit the catcher, which and the catcher got the cat. I think that was what game was that? I know it was a game. I think it was a division series game. I think, wasn't it? Where a catcher got hurt. I pinch hit a catcher and I put up. I think it was Freddie Benavides is who I put in at catcher. If that's true, I think that was Montreal. I think that was the Expos. I think that was a game against the Expos. I think. I know I had a game where I had to pinch. Yeah, no, it wasn't that. It was the Dodgers and the Reds where I had to put. No, it wasn't that. It was a game where I pinch hit the catcher, and the original catcher got hurt. I didn't have a catcher. So that pretty much told me I cannot pinch hit the catcher just in case something like that happens. So I didn't make that mistake again. But, of course, this is Game 7 of the World Series, and even though it was a 5-0, this is automatically a classic. So because it's a 5-0 win for the White Sox. So I want to thank all of you guys. We are one of the reasons why I went ahead and tried to complete this project. I'm glad I chose 1994. Maybe one day we'll replay the entire 1994 season, starting from the beginning this time, with and see where it will end out. But so it was a great season. I'm happy it turned out the way it did. Looking forward to some more payoff pitch. All right. That's it for the recap. It's now time for the reveal. The choice is by the selection show. If people are wondering if anybody here who did not watch my selection show, I do recommend you watch that before you watch this. But then again, you're about to find out the season that got chosen anyway. So we now go do our next season reveal. So these are the 4 seasons that came out by the cards that were dealt and by the dice rolling and everything. 1964, 1977, 1985, and 2015. I think 4 excellent years. I would have had no problem with anybody's choice. I would have had no problem. I would have doing 1964 would be great. Okay, this is an awesome season to do. Koufax, Frank Robinson, Stan Musial, Eddie Banks, Ernie Banks, Eddie Matthews. A young Bob Gibson. Okay, Willie Mays. I mean, come on. This is a great season to do. 1977, Reggie Jackson, George Brett, Mike Schmidt, Steve Carlton, Tom Seaver, Greg Nettles, okay, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Yankees, the Rangers had a good year, the Orioles had a good year, Rick Dempsey, Al Bunbury, a young Eddie Murray. Amazing that we did 1994 with Eddie Murray in one of his last years. This season would have Eddie Murray in one of his first years, So, 1977, this is a great season to do. 1985, Cardinals, Royals, Mets, still a good Yankees team, a young Don Mattingly, Dwight Gooden, pretty much Dwight Gooden, the 1985 Dwight Gooden, maybe the best season a modern day pitcher had since Bob Gibson. His 1.53 ERA in 1985 has not been beaten since then. That is the lowest ERA of any pitcher, okay, in the live ball era since Bob Gibson's 1.12 in 1968. Dwight Gooden was a friggin' monster that year, okay, and the Mets were a good team. You still have Mike Schmidt. You still got Carlton. You still got some awesome players. You have Wade Boggs of the Red Sox. Awesome. I mean, the 85 season is a great season. 2015. I know a lot of people did not. I know a lot of people would probably balk at this season, but 2015, I mean, that would be a great season for me to do. Of course, the Mets and the Royals in the World Series, Syndergaard, DeGrom, Matt Harvey, but but Mike Trout, Bryce Harper. I mean, a great season to do here in 2015. This would be an awesome. So all 4 of these seasons would have been so much fun to do. I don't care which one I would have done, but we do have a winner. We do have a winner. And I will start from the bottom. Being eliminated with only 1 little vote. Now remember, all these votes are tabulated from the video, the selection video, the Tabletop Sports group in Payoff in Facebook, and the Payoff Pitch Gamers Network. Okay, so 3 sites gave me votes. I got a good total. I got a total pretty much of 30 votes overall for everything. 30 votes total. That's not bad. I'll take it. With only one vote, with only one little vote, 2015 is gone. 2015 received only one vote. I was so disappointed because I would have loved to have done 2015 in the Mets and the Mets and everything like that. 2015, a good season. I was a little disappointed that 2015 was kicked off like that. 2015 got crushed. It got crushed. So 2015 is gone. In third place, this season actually started out a little slow, but suddenly came in pretty strong and really did pretty well. It actually did pretty strong and did pretty well. If I was not including Payoff Pitch Gamers Network and the Tabletop Baseball Facebook groups, this season would have won. But I told you at the start, all the votes will be counted in all three. And trust me, I did my ultimate best to make sure I did not get repeat votes. So, with 9 votes total, season to be eliminated is 1964. 1964 started out slow, but suddenly I got a lot of votes for 64 in the Payoff Pitch Gamers Network, and was actually, and a lot of people, I didn't think 64 was going to make this, but they got close, and they got a lot of votes in gamers in the video, and I thought for one moment 64 was going to win, but it got eclipsed by the other two. So 64 is out. Remember, just because we put these seasons out, they will be, of course, reinserted back into the selection deck. When we complete the next season, we'll do it again, and they'll get another chance, if, of course, they're picked. That leaves the last two. I knew for a fact these two would go head-to-head. I got a lot of people, I know for a fact, most of us here are not kids. We're all in the 30s, we're all in the 40s, we're all in the 50s, okay? Maybe some are older, okay? I knew for a fact, one reason why I knew 2015 would not get chosen was because not many people like modern day baseball. I still love modern baseball. It's still the same game. A couple of rules changed, yes. It's still the same pitcher versus batter confrontation. That's never changed. Pitcher's job, get the batter out. Batter's job, get a hit. That has not changed, and at least that rule will never change. So I knew 2015 was having an issue, but I wanted to include it anyway to give people a choice of a modern season. And I will do the same thing the next selection show. 1964, I'm not surprised either that it didn't make it, because although we love classic baseball, the day of Koufax and stinking replay, and I still did not get it right. Yeah, I know, right? I know people know Sandy Koufax and Ernie Banks, but a lot of people, some of us aren't that old, and we don't remember seeing these players play. We don't remember seeing. I'm 51 years old. I never saw Koufax pitch. I never saw him pitch. He retired. In 66. All right, he was done. All right, he was done. I never saw Koufax pitch. I was too young to see Hank Aaron really hit the ball, or Willie Mays, or Willie McCovey, or Ernie Banks. I never saw these guys play. I watch them on YouTube, but I never saw them play actually outright. Never actually see them there. Like I watch, Jose Altuve right now, or because 20 years from now I'm going to say, oh yeah, Carlos Correa hit that massive home run in the 2020 ALCS to send the Astros to Game 6. Really, I'll remember that. Of course, I'll be 71 when that happens. Who knows? So I'm not surprised 64 didn't get it, because maybe it was a little too old, but that's all right. But it will also go back into the selection deck when we do this again. So that leaves 1985 and 1977. So who do we get to see? Do we get to see Jackson? Do we get to see Gooden? Do we get to see Brett? Do we get to see Vince Coleman? Do we get to see Greg Nettles? Do we get to see Steve Carlton? Neck and neck race between these two. With receiving 11 votes and in second place, the second place vote getter and receiving 11 votes was 1977, which means 1985 will be the next season to be done starting November. I hope none of you are disappointed. If you are, I understand. But I wanted you guys to have the choice. I know some of you would be happy to see anyone, win this year, but 77, 1985. I'm actually very happy that 85 came through. The Mets are the Mets are a force. The Mets are a force. They only lost the division by 3 games against they only lost for 3 games behind the Cardinals. The Mets will see the Mets will be there. You get to see a good Royals team, get to see a good Cardinals team, you get to see some awesome teams here. I mean, you look at to let you guys know what you got to be looking for here. You got in 1985 by quick results charts. Let's see here. Get this here. Maybe I can get that and see. Let me just put there. I mean, quick results charts for 1985. I mean, you're going to have the A-rated teams in this season are the New York Yankees. The Yankees were excellent in 85. I mean, they were 97 and 64 in 1985. The Toronto Blue. Yep, there you go. See, Pester won the Blue Jays. Yep, we're going to see a lot of the Toronto Blue Jays. They were also rated an A team in the American League. So yes, the Toronto Blue Jays are going to win some games. We know that either by quick results or by payoff pitch. All right, the Toronto Blue Jays were an A-rated team. B-rated. You had a lot of B teams in 1985 American League, which means you had a decent Orioles team, a Red Sox team that finished 500. The Angels had 90 wins. The White Sox had 85 wins, which means we'll see Tom Seaver pitching for the Chicago White Sox. Okay, we got it. Yes, and of course, Mungo Jerry says Tigers can go for the title. Yes, although the Tigers are a B-rated team, but they had 84 wins, and of course the Kansas City Royals with 91 wins. All right, those are the good teams. Those are the Tom Hearn, 1985, 302. Exactly. I mean, the American League loaded. The worst teams in the American League, though. Unfortunately, I can pretty much say the Cleveland Indians and the Texas Rangers probably will not be there, as they're the Fs of the American League. And of course, there's no interleague play. So there's no American League versus National League. So everything is league versus league. But the Cleveland Indians and the Texas Rangers are Fs. So of course, we'll see them during the season. Every team is going to get seen at least twice, maybe even 3 times in how it's going to get scheduled. Maybe even more than that. But absolutely, absolutely, you're gonna see, some F teams in there, but you'll still see them in the National League. Okay, the National League was loaded. You had the Los Angeles Dodgers. They were awesome in 1985. The Dodgers are an A-rated team. They had 95 wins. All right. You had the New York. Of course, you have the St. Louis Cardinals, who won the National League East. 3 games over the Mets. The Mets are an A-rated team, so we're going to see a lot of Met games this time. The Dodgers were great. Okay, the Reds were good. They had 89 wins. The Astros were good. They had 83 wins. They are rated B teams. The Expos were still good. Okay, with 84 wins, they got a B. The Padres were good. Guess what? We're going to see a young Tony Gwynn with the Padres, okay? They had 83 wins. The worst teams, unfortunately, in that league were the Atlanta Braves. They were a D, and the Pittsburgh Pirates and the San Francisco Giants are Fs. So nothing much good. The Pirates were awful in 85. We know that. The Pittsburgh Pirates were terrible. They had 57 wins that year. The Pittsburgh Pirates were garbage, okay? The San Francisco Giants were not good either. They only had 62 wins. So we figure the Pirates and Giants not be there. And then, of course, the Cubs were average. They were a C. But you got to remember, and of course, in the American League, the C teams were the Brewers, the Twins, the Athletics, and the Mariners, okay? You got to remember, though, just because I'm saying we're not going to see them, hey, if they get rolls off the quick results charts, yeah, because the Pirates they were still a year away from Bonds and Bonilla, exactly, okay? If you're still, the quick results charts could still go their way. Just because they're an F doesn't mean they're not going to do anything. Yeah, Willie McGee was just absolutely nuts in 85. Exactly. And we're going to see Dwight Gooden. We're going to see Dwight Gooden have a 1.53 ERA type of year, possibly. Okay, his card is absolutely. I've looked at it. His card is absolutely nasty. All right, Dwight Gooden still the best ERA since Bob Gibson, and even that, and the one closest to that was Greg Maddux in 94. And he had a 1.65, but that season didn't end. That season ended. It was canceled. So we're going to see Dwight Gooden. We're going to see Ron Darling. We're going to see Gary Carter, Keith Hernandez. That, Bonilla still, Bobby Bonilla Day still getting paid by the Mets. So it's going to be 1985 is going to be the year to be done. And I will start this season. I'm going to take the rest of this month off. The season will start on November 2nd, Monday, November 2nd. The day before Election Day. So we'll start the season off on Monday, November 2nd. So I'm going to take the rest of this month off. No broadcasting games. I'll still do some inside pitch. I got inside pitch games coming in. I'll do some streaming here and there. I'll just chat, and of course. But what I really want to do is I really want to watch you guys play. I want to see more. I want to watch more Sports Time Machine. I want to watch more baseball demos. I want to watch more Philip Reynolds. I want to watch more Tribe Fan. I want to watch more you guys. Give myself a break. I want to take a break. Take a couple of weeks off, and then November 2nd will be the start of the regular season. No preseason games this time. We're going to go right into it. Now, here is how the season is going to go. We will be playing every other day of the season. Quick results will do that day's games and the next day's games. So we're going to have quick results, all right? We're going to do every other day. I'm not going to play 7 months. That's ridiculous. If I do it that way, we could probably get a season done in 4.5 to 5 months, including playoffs. That's fine. I could deal with that because it took a month and a half to do the playoffs for 94. So it'll be every other day, which means, okay, the first day of the season on 1985 was April 6th. Was Monday, April 6th, I believe. Actually, it's... Real quick, let me see here. Jason Voorhees was dead forever in 1980. Friday the 13th. Jason lives. Exactly, right? Let me see what we got here. Hold a minute here. Baseball sim research, 1985. No, not that. I don't want that one. I want this one here. So, the first game of the season started out. And this is as played. We're not going to do as scheduled. We'll do as played. Okay, I'm not going to have rainouts. Forget rainouts. Games could be called, but no rainouts. Okay, so if a rainout happens to occur, all right, or a game is called in less than after the 5th inning, all right. I'll call that game. If it's a winner, it's a winner. But I'm not going to have rain outs. So in other words, they're not going to have any rain outs or such, and such and such. Tigers should open the season. No, Tigers will not be only opening the season. I already have the first game scheduled, and I'm going by the records for 1985, not 1984. So it will actually, I can already tell you the first game of the season, which is Monday, April 8th. And that first game is going to be, I believe, if I can get back to this here. It started with 101. They don't play. So then the next highest, I believe, was the Blue Jays. And it actually will start the first game of the season. I can tell you right now, okay, I already have that game in my mind. It will be the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Kansas City Royals. That will be the opening day game of that date. Now, as I was saying, like, we go ahead and we play Monday, April 8th. I'll do a 10-minute ticker for that. I'll also do a 10-minute ticker for Tuesday, April 9. And then the next date, we play Wednesday, April 10. The next day will be Friday, April 12. Then April 14, 16, 18, and so on, and so on. And so on. So, you know, and so on. So that's how we're going to do it. All right. I know you agree on Tigers opening day, but no, I'm not going to do Tigers on opening day. Sorry. That's, you know, and, you know, I know Cleveland's at Detroit on Monday, April 08, but I'm not going to do that. So I like Toronto and Kansas City, actually, because I want to do it from the record standpoint of that season, not the season that was passed. So if I was doing the 84 season, yeah, Tigers probably would have been the first game scheduled. But I'm going to do Toronto and Kansas City. Don't worry, Detroit's going to get their looks. Don't worry, Detroit's going to get their looks. But that's what we're going to do. So we're going to play every other day of the season. So next day will be 2 days later until we get to about the month of September. When we get to September, all right, well, I don't know if I'm going to do the whole month that way or halfway through the month. But when we get to September, we'll probably do every day of the month of September because, of course, playoff position will be important. Now, here's how the playoffs are going to run. Of course, in 1985, only the division winners made the playoffs. Yuck. We want playoffs. We want more teams. Okay? Give them a chance. I totally agree. So, therefore, the top 3 teams in each division will make the playoffs. The top 3 teams in each division will make the playoffs. I was thinking of first keeping each team in its division and going straight to like a best of 3 divisions, wild card series in both divisions, and so on and so so on and so forth, and whatever, you know. But I decided, you know what? I kind of liked how I did the wild card playoff game and then the wild card series. I kind of liked how that went. So, I'm going to do it in the same format that 1994 was done. The top 3 teams in each division make the playoffs. They will be seeded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6. The number 6 team will play the number 5 team in a wild card playoff. The winner of that game will play the number 4 team in a best of 3, the wild card series. And then, of course, the winner of that will play the number 1 seed, and the other team will play the number 3 seed. Here's the funny thing about that, though. Here's the funny thing about that. It is very possible that an American League or National League Championship Series could have 2 teams from the same division. And I agree with that. I actually like that idea. You could have the New York Yankees play the Boston Red Sox in the American League Championship Series, or the New York Mets and the Cardinals play the Championship Series, or the Dodgers against the Reds in the NLCS. I like it that way. I thought it was great. Okay, just because you're in lousy divisions, because you could be from a lousy division, and you know what? I kind of like the way it went with the 3 division alignment that I did it, so we're going to keep it for the same way. So the top 3 teams each division get in, all right? Top 3 get in, and the number 6 team, and yet the number 6 team, the number 5 team could easily be in the same division, and they'll play it. Then they would play the number 4 team, which will probably be from the other division, in a best of 3. I just think it allows a lot more interesting playoff possibilities. So so the thing about it is this: if we did it the regular way, the only way, like the Cardinals and the Dodgers would play each other, okay, in the playoffs, would be only in the NLCS. Screw that. Screw it. Let them play a division series if that comes to be that way, okay? The only way, and of course, the Mets, of course, the Red Sox and the Yankees could never play an ALCS with the regular system. Let's have it. I would love to do a New York Yankees, Boston Red Sox ALCS. Are you kidding me? I know I get out Red Sox fan watching every single game. So that's how we're going to do the playoffs. So it's going to be 1985. I will start November 2nd. And because I'm going to start November 2nd, November 3rd is election day. Probably will not play that day. So I probably will be skipping on election day and going to go, and we'll play on November 4th and continue there with the next day's schedule. It's election day, people. We all have a job to do. So there's not going to be time for baseball that night. We're busy going to be watching results. I know I like what you're doing though, because it keeps more teams in the race. Exactly. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. Okay, great. We're in September. Let's see. The Cardinals have a 20-game lead on the Mets. Oh boy, wow, that division's already decided. The Yankees have a 15-game lead on the Red Sox. Oh geez, well, that division's decided. Why would I want it? It's settled. But okay, fine. The Cardinals have a 20-game lead on the Mets. But the Mets are only 2 games ahead of the Philadelphia Phillies. And the Philadelphia Phillies are only a game and a half ahead of the Chicago Cubs. Oh, yeah, your Astros will definitely be in the hunt. Definitely. I wanted to do more playoff teams so that more teams are in the hunt. Because there's too many. How many seasons did we have where one team ran away with the divisions? How many seasons have we had? We can't count that high. There was so many. Remember, 1986, the Mets ran away with the National League East. There was no catching them after midway through April. They were gone. The Mets were already, you couldn't see them with a telescope. They were gone. Okay? So in 1986. But, I want to have more teams out. That makes more important games to play in September. And of course, seeding. Who's going to host the wild card game? Who's going to host the wild card series, the division series? So that's how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to do it. And maybe, here you are telling me you guys really want the Tigers on opening day. Geez. Let me see something. Detroit had what? Detroit had 84 wins. They wouldn't be figured. I wouldn't probably have. I mean, they did play the Cleveland Indians on Monday. All right, you know what? Fine, guys. Give my fans what they want. You want the Detroit Tigers to be the opening day game? I'll do it. Cleveland at Detroit will be the opening day game. After that, I make the schedule, guys. Is that okay? Trust me, we're going to see every team at least twice, 3 times, maybe more than that. Payoff pitch record will be important, okay? Payoff pitch record will be important. It will be the tiebreaker. So if two teams tie, let's say at 90 wins and 72 losses, and one team had a payoff pitch record of 5-3, and one had a payoff pitch record of 4-4, that 5-3 team wins. I'm not going to do a tiebreaker game unless the records are the same. Payoff pitch record will mean something. It didn't really mean anything in my regular season in 1994. It will mean something. You're going to want to win the games on the board. You're going to want to win the games on the board, not just in quick results. All right? You got to win the games on the board. So payoff pitch record will be tiebreaker. Those will be the tiebreaker in case we have a tie for that. Or maybe I'll just use the payoff pitch as the tiebreaker. If there's a same, maybe I'll still have that tiebreaker game, but I'll just use. Okay, now the Astros are screwed. Yeah, the dice didn't like it. They loved your quick results, but they didn't. But they did not like the. But they did not like. They didn't like the board game. They didn't do that too good. Maybe I'll use the payoff pitch tiebreaker instead of maybe I'll use the payoff pitch tiebreaker to decide the home team in a tiebreaker game. Maybe I'll do it that way. Maybe I gotta count it in that format. I don't know. We'll see. We got a long way to go before I have to worry about it. But that's what we're gonna do. So 1985 will be the season next. I'm looking forward to starting it. I really wish I was starting it immediately, but I want to take a break. So for the next couple of weeks, you're not going to hear my ugly voice. All right. But you, at least not for payoff pitch, will be inside pitch. I got more seasons coming in. I'm going to do the 1976 ALCS game between the Yankees and the Royals. All right, between the Yankees and the Royals, that'll be the inside pitch game coming up. I got the 1976 season coming in. That'll be next. We'll do Game 5 of the American League Championship Series between the Royals and the Yankees. So that game's going to get done with inside pitch as soon as I get that season in. 1977 is also coming in. I'll be ordering 78 tomorrow. And we're going to do some more inside pitch action as well, of course. So I might be doing a tournament with that. With inside pitch, I might choose a season and play a full tournament, a one and done, like Al Red Sox fan was doing Stratomatic 69. Who knows? That's it. I think I talked to you guys our ears off long enough. Salvador America, see Pester 1, Steeler fan 1933, Sports Time Machine, Michael Peterson, Tribe fan 879, Philip Reynolds. Thank you all for joining me here for the season recap and reveal. It has been a pleasure to deal with all you wonderful people out there. Okay. Thank you very much for joining me and for enjoying the 1994 season. Just give you the Dave Steve starts. Oh, don't worry. I'm pretty sure I'll have a couple of him in there, but you'll see. I'll be posting, of course, the schedule in Payoff Pitch Gamers Network. I'm going to slow down my Tabletop Sports Plus postings, so everything will go into Payoff Pitch because I know Tony at CP Cards and Dice, he's the moderator for that network. I know for a fact he don't care how many times I post. So unlike some other Facebook groups, Inside Pitch. Oh, sorry, that kind of got out. So who had problems, who called it spam, whatever. Thank you all for joining me, guys. We're going to have more. I got Inside Pitch coming up, so stay tuned for that. Whenever you see it pop up, go ahead and join me. Have a good night, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay strong, stay smart, and Payoff Pitch will return in a couple of weeks. We will see you Monday, November 2nd, for opening day of the 1985 season. Catch you guys later, guys. Take care.